Welcome to another edition of Inspired Discussions, where we challenge the way you think, shattering status quo while increasing your self worth. They call me Sibley, and I'm with my co-host.
Remy realizing energy made me threw me all the way off.
I, I told you I was starting when it hit an hour. I didn't care that you was doing your I don't know what you was doing, trying to figure out
Yeah,
how to
right.
move the cards in the camera.
Yeah, I was.
We had a show to do. We didn't have time for all your foolery.
Touche. You got it.
Welcome back, welcome back, everybody. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. As y'all see, we in good spirits. We had uh, another one of our good pregame talk
Warm up
sessions.
sessions or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, warm
I
up
don't even know what to
sessions,
call them.
and
But
we
yeah,
actually getting better in those and not talking too much and wasting good, you know, off the top content or whatnot,
facts.
and keeping it, real vague. But in that talking today, what is my mic on?
Right?
How do I sound?
Oh, I mean, you sound good. You sounded good the whole time.
All
I
right,
was making sure I sounded good as well.
all right. No, you just made me think. I'm like, shoot, I ain't touched this mic at all. I did nothing to it. All right,
Them
and
eyes, what?
and in our talking, we, because we probably talked about this before, or mentioned it before, but it just came up in our dialogue this morning about um, what other people think is none of our business.
Oh yeah,
What other people think about you is none of your business at all whatsoever.
facts.
And you know, I'm a very firm believer in that because I do a lot of things that's not conventional. I have a lot of non-conventional beliefs, and just the way I move
Mm,
on, on different levels and aspects in business, in my business, professional life and personal life. I just move different. So
right.
like that's something just for myself. I have to say, I have to, tell myself like, look, what other people think, that ain't none of your business. That's their business.
Right.
So within that, I'm like, okay, like I was just telling him, y'all, like that don't take away from the fact that the elephant still be in the room, and like and that you
Yeah.
human,
Yeah.
and that like it's gonna be hard for you to be swayed in your beliefs or whatnot, and
Right. It makes it a lot harder. Like with that statement, someone else's opinion of you is not your business. That's easy to do in regards to like a complete stranger. Majority of the time you don't care no way. But then when it comes down to those that's close to you or closest to you, it's like how is it that I shouldn't care about their opinion of me at the end of the day? But
right.
that also reflects on the fact that everybody got their own journey. That's what that ties to.
Yeah, that everybody got their own journey, and you have to come within terms within yourself. Like you have to come up with, I guess I want to say, the foundation of your beliefs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The foundation of the way you move. You know, I didn't spoke bits and pieces about like how I set up systems and whatnot just to
Right.
be that's like that got a lot of traditionality to it, but I put my own twist on it to make it, so it makes more sense to me, so I can
Right.
believe it more,
Right.
because when you forced to, just to believe certain things just because that's what everybody else telling you to do, like you don't really believe it. Your belief behind those convictions, you don't really have no conviction behind those beliefs, you
Right.
know.
You something like that. I feel it. It it may pushes you away from you discovering self at the end of the day. Because if you really don't have that connection with the same understanding and belief or whatnot, and if it's not you, then yeah, that's another hurdle that you're placing in your own journey of discovery of self at the end of the day,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah,
navigate.
yeah. And then that go back to like what I was saying. That's why it's important to have that foundation, because on that journey, what you really trying to get to your higher, I don't want to say get to your higher self, because I think we're always working towards a higher level of self, but to get to a place to where you know you're operating in complete wholeness.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that you're operating in a complete wholeness. You have to have this foundation where you like, when I come up with it, when I face this type of conflict, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna use it here. Different. I guess you can say tools in your tool belt to take out and like, look, I'm doing this because I had a belief in this, and this is what I'm doing because like you were saying, I'm about to take you little, and now I'm about to give you credit, but I'm about to take it for the YouTube and for the YouTube audience. You're gonna see what I'm saying, and for the listeners, Remy got a background with a maze, and in the middle of it, it's a pool.
Yeah,
and how he was saying the pool is that's the that's how did you, yeah, that's yourself. That's yourself. And like the maze all around the pool is your journey while you trying to get to yourself. Yeah. So like, and y'all know, like a maze, like you can feel like when you in a maze, when you doing the maze, you can feel like you got the right way, and then you hit this wall.
You be like,
and you gotta turn around. Right. I gotta turn around for real. And what those walls are is them people that's giving you their opinion that's really none of your business.
Facts.
That's what those walls are. So when you get those walls, you gotta, like I was saying, you gotta be able to go back into that tool belt and pull out something within your foundation that's not gonna sway you from your beliefs.
Facts.
Because that's what all people be trying to do anyway. They be trying to get you to believe how they believe.
Okay.
You know, they be trying to get you to believe how they believe. He's so funny.
No, I'm with you. In my head, I'm like, oh, okay, we going. All right, I'm about to break it down too then.
Yeah, you know, that's all they be trying to do anyway, is get you to believe how they believe. Because they have socially accepted that this is the way, this is the only way of doing things. This is the only right way.
The only way, right.
It's the only way, man. And like I always tell people, like, if you take the unpopular things and make them popular, people gonna think that's the way of life. Like if you take traditional, if you flipped it, if you just flipped it, like, and everybody was engaging in things that's just untraditional, it would be looked at as like, oh, that's how you're supposed to do it, and the opposite would be condemned.
True.
So yeah.
You see that in regular life all the time too. Like the things that are no longer the norm, when people are not engaging in the norm, what's different becomes popular, and then it's like, oh yeah, I should do this. And that's like a continued cycle. At the end of the day, you can think about that.
It's all about social acceptance. That's how things come. That's how things go back in and out of style.
That's exactly where I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah, that's how things go back in and out of style, because it's just some type of influencer or somebody of high status or some type, bring it back. Yeah. And it's back accepted by everybody.
Yeah,
it's back accepted by everybody. So
there's always that statement of whatever it is, you hear that statement of that person didn't create it, but they made it popular, or they made it popular again. That's just a cycle of life, period, at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And that the same way how you was talking about the maze situation. Yeah, everything you said makes sense perfectly. And I think the only thing that I just added on, only because of what you just said, made me think about it. Like with the middle being self, that pool of water right there. And I was looking at all the different little exits and entrances or whatever, doorways, hallways, what you want to call it, right there by the pool, because it's still different ways to get in there. I'm like, you know what? For you to engage in the maze, your own journey at the end of the day, what if that pool is not necessarily that color at that moment? You got to get it to that color. That color is the color that you're supposed to be at in regards to your life. And you know what? After you add something to that pool, all right, you getting closer to that color. Now you got to go back in there in the maze again and find something else that ties to yourself, your true self at the end of the day. You got to come back and place
it's
it in
an
the pool.
ongoing cycle.
It's an ongoing cycle. Yeah,
I hear it. I love it because that's it right there. That's it. Because how many times have I told you to where I felt every year I'd be like, yeah, I'm here now. I got it all together. You know what I mean? I got it all together. This my year. I'm gonna make everything happen that I said I'm gonna make happen. You know,
all those moments where I'd be like, I just leveled up.
Yeah, but you had to go back, and you
had to go back again.
You had that thing. You was like, dang, not quite yet. Like, shoot, I gotta go back. And you know, I love that analogy because that's exactly what that is. You have to go back through that maze. You have to go, and through that maze, you had I had tragedy, pops right here. Oh, my relationship rocky right here. You know,
bro.
Because you was like. Once I was to the pool, everything else over here was cool, and I thought it was all good.
Man,
bro, I had to go back in there because I wasn't quite there yet. The water wasn't pure enough yet. You know what I'm saying?
So I gonna take this, yo, bro. I ain't gonna lie right now. Like I want this to be a full on animation of what we saying right now because I think that would be so dope, bro. Man, like just looking at that and hearing how you breaking that down, it's like, bro, all those dead ends. I can't help but just look at this picture now. I think this is gonna be my picture from now on. All those dead ends that's in that maze are those moments, like you just said, like the moments when somebody died or the moments that slowed us down, all those different hurdles. And every time you come back to that pool, like especially with a death, I know for sure with myself, it's like I run into a dead end in that maze and it's death related. Oh man, that shifts my energy completely. And I got to go all the way through that back to the pool. You know, I'm moving slow. You know, I'm moving with like low regards to anything else, but I make it back to the pool every time. And I'm still got to go back in there. And it's like, oh man, well, what else can I find in here that's for me? And just that journey alone of understanding that it's all me. Everything that we just said, even especially regarding to this picture, your maze, your dead end, your pool, you got to be the one to go back in there. None of that says anything about somebody else's opinion. It's not your business.
Right.
It's not your business. They are not a part of that. If anything, they're a part of it. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to say that. Hold up. If anything, they're a part of it in regards to a hurdle that's in the maze. Because that's still your pool. It's still your maze. So you got to respect that on that regard. Not to the fact to where you can't make it back to self at the end of the day. You still got to make it back to self at the end of the day. Right. That's what matters.
Like let's throw this wrinkle in there though. Let's talk about those who get there. They get there to the center, and then they find out they got to go back because it's not pure enough. They got to go back there, but they don't.
Oh, but they don't.
But they don't, and they just content with the water being the way it is. And they just because it's a lot out there that do that. They say, okay, they just give in. They're like, I'm here, I made it here. I'm not going back out there and facing those things that I had to face before.
I ain't thought about that one because I'm like, I don't got a quitter mentality, so I ain't think about it.
I'm not. It's not. No. It's not necessarily quitting though. You don't necessarily quit when you stop evolving. You just stop evolving and be content with being who you are in that person, in that you be
I didn't
content
think
within
about
that
that.
state of being. You don't necessarily quit. You know, as long as you breathing, like you're not quitting, but you just content. You content with
Right.
being you content with the water impurities not being crystal clear.
Right.
And so
Dang. I
you
ain't think
have
about that at all,
you
man.
have developed these things, you have developed this mentality over years that it's okay. Mediocre is okay.
Right.
I'm saying mediocre is okay. It's
Dang.
it's okay for me not to not it's okay for me to only want to have this and for this to be life. Even if
Right.
I got other people around me that I love and that love me and care about me want more for me, or they want more for the overall,
Right.
you know, the family structure, you
Dang,
know.
man. That really just I ain't think about that at all, bro. Like I'm
You
sitting
know,
here like
it's
what
just something I'm thinking of as we
what
talking, and I'm like, yeah, it's people because it's people that's like that.
it is. It is. You're right. You're right.
It's people that's like that. So
I,
we gonna
I would only think that like at some point though, like I would I would only think that at some point you're going to get that urge of I'm tired of this too being at the same standpoint. You
do you
can't
though? Do you? Do you?
don't know.
Do you? If you could
Myself,
sit
I
with
know
that
I
thing,
would for sure. Like I can't just sit there and be like, all right, especially looking at this maze and us using this, I'm like, this is a big maze. And we're using that for like our individual life journey. I'm like, bro, I cannot over time, I don't know how long it would be, but me sitting there at the pool knowing that it's not crystal clear or whatnot, and then also still realizing that there's a lot more out there, I probably would at some point be like, I don't want to go back in there no more and just be like, all right, I'm cool. But there's definitely going to come a point for me, especially that I'm like, all
okay,
right, I got to
so
go back in there and get
uh,
something. I
all
got to.
right, you said it come that point. What triggers that then? Let's help because I'm like, because once you there, like what's some triggers then that you say, okay, I need to go back out there and I need to face whatever I and get back here
Oh, man.
to make it clear. What's some triggers?
Well,
Because I
all
mean,
right. Well, hey, well, I got life examples for that one, so I can definitely provide that. Being stagnant like that, and I'm going to tie this real example directly to that. Those days when I was definitely stressed out, depressed, and whatnot, bro. You can ask my family, like household family. Nick, I didn't want to go nowhere. I was in the basement for I don't know how long. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to interact with nobody. I didn't want to do anything. But then it just got to that point to where it's like I'm tired of being mad and sad. Like I'm tired of being tired. That type of statement. And it's like, you know what? F it. I can't just stay like this. Period. I can't. It's done. It was a while. It was damn near 8 months to a year to I really didn't care about nothing. And then it's like, you know what? I can't do anything staying in this state at the end of the day. And then you still hear other like good things that's going on outside of that or with family or with those you do care about, and then hearing about how other engagements are going on but you're not there. It's like different things hit you on different levels where you actually do care about, and it's like, you know what, F it, the only thing I can do is continue to grow at the end of the day. I know that there is still something within me to where I can go back and pull something that's going to help me grow at the end of the day. And that's what that was for me, especially. So I'm like, you standing there at your pool and it's not crystal clear and you content with it. You like, it's blue enough. Okay, you might stay there for a while, but I really do believe that everybody's going to get to that point to where it's like, all right, I know there's something else out there, even if it's not in regards to the pool, to where it's like you know that you can get it crystal clear. It may be in regards to yourself to where it's like, all right, I know I've been here at this same state for 8 to 9 months, but there might be something out there to help me feel better of myself in this situation. Not in regards to getting your water clear, but in regards to you continuing to engage in your journey.
But if you feel like within that journey you made it, you ain't got no reason to even look like that. If the clearness of that water at that point in that stage, if that's what's made, if that's what's was set in your mind as to making it, and like that's like, oh, I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm here. Like, no, you're not.
How
You
much
go.
of yourself are you willing to sacrifice to say you content? How much of yourself are you willing to give to say you content? Those are two questions for sure that I think about. Are you going to sacrifice yourself, as in like different points of self that you're going to damage to grow? Or are you going to continue to engage and grow? There's still growth is happening at the end of the day. It may be slow and maybe it may seem stagnant, but it's still going to be growth at the end of the day. The sacrifice that you may take, it may be greater in regards to the growth. So it's going to definitely be a setback, but there's still going to be growth from it. Like which side are you going to continue to do that on though? You can sacrifice as much as self at the end of the day and be nowhere.
And let me preface this, like, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you said. I'm just trying to help that person that is content. You know what I mean? Like, cause I agree with you. Like, at some point you gotta, cause I was there. Like, I had those moments where I'm like, nah, this ain't me. I ain't feeling right. Like, I need to switch some stuff up. But like I asked you to, and you kind of answered it a little bit there, and you kind of spoke to that person. You know, you spoke to that person, and that's what I wanted you to do, because, like I said, it's people out there that is content, so they need to be spoke to. You know, they need to be spoke to, and so they can understand that, like really self-reflect and self-evaluate. Like,
I mean, I can use the same example that I used before we started recording with no names being called. The same way he was living life and still not feeling free at the end of the day. From being a kid all the way up to now, and living and growing and being able to pursue all his dreams and aspirations and goals or whatnot. The entire time up until that point of feeling free, all those moments of even graduating, engaging with family, celebrating stuff, doing things that you feel like you would actually enjoy, and what on the outside may seem like, oh, he's enjoying his life, but yet not even knowing that, no, he's really not at all. He is feeling restricted and locked down just because of what he can't I don't want to say respect in regards to those closest to him and their opinions about him, knowing that those opinions hold so much. No, he allowed those opinions to have so much weight to where he didn't even live his life freely growing up. And then realizing, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I gotta at least do this one thing and be free. Whatever happens. Their opinion is not my business. That's the moment where he respected it and was willing to take whatever came with it. And then from that moment, was happy and continued to live life stress-free. No anxiety, no craziness at the end of the day, and still realize how all those moments growing up, the vacations, the celebrations, the events or whatnot, really meant nothing because he was not free. And now doing those, he's have a whole new appreciation for it, and appreciation of his own individual journey at the end of the day now. Like
Right.
all of that stuff locks you down at the end of the day because of what you hold at high regards of someone else. Those are all still outside of you. Those are all things that you are attaching. You are attaching your energy to things that have nothing to do with your own energy. Even if it's family and friends closest to you. If you're going to do that in regards of what you know that is going to feed back or refuel your cup at the end of the day for. I think we've talked about that before of how when we continue to engage with people who can feed back same energy that we can constantly build off of, that's
Right.
the energy that should matter in your life. It doesn't matter if that's family or friends. It makes it harder because it's family. Those are the people you grew up with. Those are the people that raised you, helped you in hard times or whatnot. You have a love for that forever, and that's what makes it hard. But at the end of the day, you have your own individual journey. You have to connect with those that help you move the way you need to move in your own individual life journey, your own individual maze, to continue to get to that pool and make it crystal clear so you can function the way you need to function at highest levels to give your own individual vacations and goals and aspirations and all of that for yourself. It's still self at the end of the day. I said a lot. I did. Like it's for you. It's hard to understand that, and it's even hard to do that and remain that way on a constant basis. I can definitely say that, especially for myself this month. I'm going to use myself as an example. Like me having that same understanding of what's for me is what's for me, and the opinions of me is not necessarily my business. But when it comes down to those that I love most, I care about most, that makes it hard to where it's still going to give me stress or moments to where I'm going to go over and beyond boundaries that I probably shouldn't, just in regards to my own energy that I have in my cup. Like me having a little bit in my cup is only enough for me really to be able to refuel my cup. But if I'm going to go over and beyond for those closest to me, oh boy, I'm about to run dry. And when I run dry, it's all about to collapse on top of me at the end of the day, because I'm not having that self-respect of realizing that what's for me is what's for me. This is still my journey. I got to take care of self before I do that for anybody else on every level. And that's not just in health either. That's on every level. In regards to mentally, spiritually, physically, everything. You got to take care of self before you do that for somebody else. It just makes it a whole lot harder because it's closest to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just yeah, I love that you just mentioned take care of self, because it all goes into just being free and staying true to who you are, you know, and being able to walk in a certain. Oh wow, I don't have the Ethernet plugged up today. I just noticed it. I don't think I had it plugged up last week
Man,
either.
I'm like, you ain't lagging or nothing. So
So we good. Yeah, I just noticed that.
okay,
And living free within yourself, um, because you be able to move different. Like your decisions are easier to make because you're not overthinking things.
right,
Your your thought process is a little different. You don't overthink things. You,
facts.
you don't overthink things at all, and like you're more let me see how I phrase it. Um you're more willing to let things go and let them play out, and let the universe, let God deal with it, and
Yeah, yeah.
and, and let it play out. And that's
Dang, that part right there is so freaking true. I ain't think about that till now. How letting God deal with stuff. But when you, oh man, I ain't really think about that at all. But that makes a lot of sense now. When you not really when you're not focused on self and you're allowing your energy to be attached to other things outside of yourself. Even I'm thinking about myself as an example. Like there has not been a single moment that I can recall right now to this day to where if I had my energy attached to something else outside of me, whether it was family or something else, a situation or a actual thing or something, I didn't even think on the basis of like, all right, maybe I should pray or maybe I should talk to God, maybe I should read the Bible, something like that. I was holding on to the energy of something else outside of me. I didn't even think on that level. I was so foggy minded or whatever, to where it's like you don't even have the focus to even pay attention to the things that you should be paying attention to at all on any level. That's how stress and anxiety like work at the end of the day. You don't think about the things that you should be doing in that moment. You're holding on and feeding through the attachment that you have outside of self, and that takes over the way you think, the way you move, the way you prepare, just everything. There's not been a single moment to where it's like, all right, maybe I should chill, I'm a pray or whatnot. I have not had a single moment of that. And that's how bad something like that is. You don't even function the way you should function on the lowest portion of how you normally would focus on a regular day. Like it takes over your whole engagement of how you move as an individual. Your normal routines of just even getting up and eating or preparing whatever it is you got to do for family, going to work or whatnot, coming back home, driving, stuff like that. You're so worried about things outside of yourself that remains in the back of your mind in moments when it don't even matter.
Right.
You brushing your teeth and you sitting there thinking about that moment where it's like, man, I don't know what to do.
Right. When you should be thinking about brushing in the right spots in that moment.
Like,
you know what I mean?
That's how bad it is. It takes over in moments when it don't even really matter, bro.
Yeah, it take it's amazing that you said that, because I watched the Will Smith video before when he was talking about he was skydiving.
I've seen
he was going to skydive, and all up until the point he was skydiving, he was in his thoughts, and he was just scared and fearful. He was just fearful in his thoughts, and then he got there, and he just jumped. Yep. Once he got there, he just jumped, and then he realized this whole time, like he had no reason to even be in his thoughts, that whole time. Of course he articulated it way better and told the story.
I know the video you're talking about.
But that's the basis of what he was talking about in that video. Like you consume yourself with all these thoughts, and then you get to that point, and it's not even as fearful as you thought.
Facts.
And you just go.
Facts.
And you just go. And you just go. And that's a perfect example.
That's so true, bro. Man, that's so true.
Yeah, it's just a perfect example into when you like when you on your journey, and you on your journey, and you put all these fearful thoughts in your head and these doubts in your head, and you let other people do it. Because that's what we talking about here. Other people think it's none of your business. And y'all excuse me, my sinuses, I'm kind of getting stopped up the more I talk. Like it seems like the worst is trying to get. So, but y'all bear with me.
Your sinuses is like, no, fam, cut that out.
Like you doing too much talking, bro. I will not be.
I get what you're saying though. Like all of that, he didn't even. With that same clip with Will Smith, like he was so in a different world in his own thoughts. He didn't enjoy none of it until like the last 15%, last 10%. And that was him already being in the air. Like he didn't enjoy nothing else.
Right. He took himself out the moment. He took himself out the moment by being in his thoughts. By being in his thoughts. And what you do when you take yourself out the moment, you take yourself out the the flow of your life and how it's supposed to flow.
How much? Yep, you take yourself out of the normal
Yeah.
routine of self.
Yeah. And now instead of attracting these things, we talking now. Here we go. You know how I'm always talking about attracting and creating the frequency you put around yourself. You bring things to you. And now instead of bringing the things to you to get you to where you want to be, you bring things to you and attract it, and you put energy into things that take you farther away from it.
Right. Yep. That allows you to add on to what you already have in your head.
Exactly.
You already have your own. You already have your own thoughts of things that you are. I mean, I can't say fearful of in a way of the unknown, just because of you not knowing how things may go or what you are just unsure of. But then you allow things outside of your own thoughts be planted on top of those. Why double down and allow that to take you out? That's what I mean by how much of self are you willing to sacrifice
because you get why let it take you out is because you let it enter in the first place, and once it starts stacking on top, it starts stacking, and now it look normal. Now the water look like that's how it's supposed to be. You forgot that it was clear. You forgot that the water was clear at one point. But since you not whole within yourself, you messing up the impurity of the water because that's not even, you're not even supposed to be in that water right now.
No, that's real.
You know, you're not even the person that can adapt to that type of water. Like you a saltwater fish and you a saltwater fish. You know, in the regular sea. That was top of the dome right there. like right off the top of the dome. But,
right, I'm like, oh wait a minute, I ain't expecting him to go there, but okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the person you are now, not even supposed to be in this type of water.
I mean, that's real though.
You know what I'm saying? Real, not even supposed to be type of water. Everything around your environment around you is telling you that, but you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it because your judgment clouded because you stay in your thoughts. Because no, maybe you got insecurities. I don't know what it is. Like it's something. It's something. Everybody have insecurities. Like the person that try to act like they don't have insecurities is a person that's just full of shit. Like just flat out. You know, like
I'm willing to accept that. Yes, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just full of shit. It's especially amongst men, man. It's something, and that's another episode I want to, because I think we're gonna bring on a guest. Like still gotta talk to her. Like she a mental health advocate or whatnot. That's her thing, and like mental health amongst men, man. Like. And expressing their feelings and stuff like that. Like we gonna use our platform for that, because
I got stuff for that right now. And it's tied to pride and ego.
Yeah, and that's where it roots with. But that's society though, letting us know. Man. That's the propaganda that society puts on, the stigma they put on men. That is it's beneath men to do certain things or show certain emotions, but that's a whole nother episode. Let's not even engage in that. True. Because that's gonna be a live when I'm gonna talk to her, and I know she'll be on board for it, and we're gonna coordinate that. That'd be dope. After other lives, and we're gonna set up some content, and we're gonna get some good content on that, and really be a flat platform, because I noticed with me dealing with what I dealt with the past 18 months. A lot of it was pride and ego. Like you just said, it was pride and ego. And, I had to overcome that and let myself know, like, it's okay to have these moments or whatnot.
Same. Yeah, definitely. Got plenty of examples and situations to describe that.
Yeah. So you reach that point to where you don't even, like I said, you don't even know, because you in this state of being to where
you're not even aware of what.
You're not even aware of what you should be doing, because you done got so content with something that, and you done got so content with a state of being that's not even you.
Yeah, exactly. I know for a fact there's definitely been moments where it's like like you said with that pool, knowing that it's supposed to be clear water at the end of it, it's definitely been moments to where it's like, all right, I'm going through a moment, depression or stress or whatnot, and then I was so content with it to where by the time I got out of that and started focusing on things that I should be focusing on in regards to self. Now I look back at it, I'm like, how in the world did I let this sit here like this? Like I expected to be like on a whole nother level just because of I knew where I was at when I was thinking and acting on things, and then to come back to it and be like, bro, I was wilding before because this is not the level of this is not the level or the typical standard that I have in regards to self. I've definitely had moments like that, whether it's just in regards to notes or discussions that I've had with people or things that I've actually acted on or built. And then I'm like, yo, what was I thinking then? And it's like, yo, I don't know where I was with that. But then that's when you realize there's different things that you've already acted on, or there's different things that I had already sacrificed self for, that if I would have continued that same cycle, man, I would have made something ridiculous, and it would have all came down crumbling on top of me, even if, once I reached the state where I felt like I was clear-minded in focusing on the journey that I needed to have. It's like that stuff just makes it seem like you're in a whole new world at the end of the day. And I'm still referring to other people's opinions and the thoughts and actions that normally causes at the end of the day. All of that, it still holds a high regard. And I can't help but think about it's hardest for people that is closest to you. So you got to stay focused on self at the end of the day.
Always, because like I say, that motto this year, one of those objectives, take care of self, so I can take care of them.
You know, that should be a regular question, I think, at the end of the day.
What's that?
How much of self are you willing to sacrifice? Like if you even ask yourself that every day.
I mean, at the point, like I feel like it should be all of it, all of yourself, all as far as like, okay, hold on.
Yeah,
put that in context. Put that in context. Put the when you say how much yourself.
Yeah, I'm like when you said all of it, I'm like, whoa,
all of yourself, because I want to make sure I'm gonna go the right way. I want to make sure I go the right way.
Okay, well, when I mean how much of self are you willing to sacrifice, I mean how much of self are you willing to damage in order to keep the certain levels of respect and still act on your own individual journey? How much of self are you willing to damage and still pay attention to at the end of the day while still focusing on your own individual journey? And saying that, like in regards to me, how much of self was I willing to damage in regards to, let's say, this month, to where there was different things I was focusing on, and then as soon as I got sick, it was like, you know what? I should have listened to this. I should have listened to that. I should have listened to this, and then that build up.
Okay.
I'm like, see, now I done made my situation worse.
Okay, that's what you meant. See, I was on a whole nother. I was about to take that.
You was on the opposite side of game.
I was on the opposite side. Like, you have to be willing to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on a whole other tip. You on the other side. How much of yourself are you gonna indirectly? How much are you gonna indirectly harm yourself before you say, okay? Yes. I need to make a change. Yes.
That part right there. Yep.
That right there, I feel like it's all situational. It's all situational, and just depend on like we always say, individual journey, and based on what that person has to lose, you know, or who's depending on them. True. You know, like who's depending on them, you know.
Like using that same question and then going back to the previous example, like for him to not feel free at a young age. All right, let's say he would have said something in high school, then that means just middle school to high school, let's just say that was 10%. If he would have said something then, he only sacrificed 10% of the rest of his life that he could actually appreciate and experience and engage with freely. But then he didn't say anything from middle school to high school. Now you in college. Okay, now that's let's say high school is 20 and middle school is 10. That's 30% of self that he damaged before he said something, and then continued to enjoy life and family freely, but didn't say anything. Then you get to the point where you get your job, and let's say that's the moment where he decided to say something. Then college, high school, middle school still 10, high school 20, college 30. That's 60% of self that he was willing to damage before he became free and enjoy life. Like stuff like that. I'm like, if I wonder if a question like that you would ask on a regular basis, would that keep you more aware of the damage that you are allowing in your life at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, like you just said, it's still individual journey and it's still individual situations. But that stress, anxiety, that depression, that lockdown in the mind, the energy that has shifted, or the energy that you're holding on to that is not yours, all of that still takes a toll on the way that you navigate, period, on any level. And it's like, at what point are you willing to give that away so you can still remain whole and enjoy the rest of your life? And I'm like, man, that's a lot at the end of the day. I'm like, if you would have said something earlier, that would have been like 10-15%. But yet holding on to it to where you were really comfortable in life years later, you still did damage that was about 60% before you became free. But yet asking a question like that every day, I think I might actually start doing that. How much of self am I willing to sacrifice? That keeps me aware of how I'm moving, how I'm acting, what I'm holding on to, what I decide to pay attention to, what I decide to allow engage with me on a regular basis. Because there's still those moments to where you don't think about it, you feel like you in the groove, and then something else come along and you realize, oh snap, I'm not in the groove no more, but you didn't realize you wasn't in the groove 2-3 days ago.
Facts.
So I think I might do that. That might be a regular question for me. I'm gonna ask.
I love it. So let's send it out there to the audience. Y'all know the context of it. So just ask yourself every day you wake up, how much you willing to sacrifice for this day. Just stay self-aware. And on that note, let's get to our inspired thought of the day with our card.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that part. All right. Let's see what we got here. Pulling from the middle. Oh, okay. In what way do people sometimes misjudge you, and how do you navigate with it?
Ooh, we talk about a self-awareness one. Jeez.
Bro, I cut the deck 3 times and pulled that from the middle. I kid you not.
It said, how do people
misjudge you, and how do you navigate with it?
Man, I'ma stay on brand with this one. I'm about to stay on brand with this one, and on episode with this one.
Wow. Okay.
Well, people judge me in many ways. I won't even get into any of them.
Right.
And how I navigate through this. A lot of the things I talked about at the beginning of this episode is none of my business.
Man, you know what? I could have been a more greater answer than anything else right now. You're right.
It's none of my business. So that's how I deal with other people's judgment. Like,
you right.
Their judgment is nothing but a self-reflection of self in a way anyway. So that ain't none of my business. They dealing with something within themselves. Right. So it ain't none of my business. That's how I deal with it.
You know what? I'm happy you said that, because I ain't had that answer, and I was like, dang, I know the answer I'm gonna give. Let it be what it's gonna be. And you said it. I'm like, you know what? That is this episode? That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
Misjudgment is an opinion. You're right.
Yeah. Like it's an opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an opinion based on it's an analysis based on something that you don't really know. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and the fact that the question is asking misjudgment,
right?
Like,
that part.
They judging in the first place, so I don't care. That's none of my business.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's none of my business. Or, to go what I said, but to really give an answer, like how do you deal with it? Like to give an answer, like it's none of my business, okay. But it goes back to that foundation. Having that foundation, like, look, this is why I do what I do, and at the end of the day, like you can't make anybody have an understanding of your beliefs. So
true.
Like you go back to that foundation. So
true.
Yeah, that's that. It's none of my business in that answer.
A cover answer is definitely that. Yeah, their opinion of me is not any of my business. That's definitely a cover answer, and that's a question for this episode. A real answer, or more direct answer, I'll say, for myself would be I had to learn to. I don't know if disattach is a word. I think it is a word. I think it's a word. I had to learn how to disattach or not attach myself to other people's thoughts of me at the end of the day. Though I know I can't say that. That's going to come off so bad. I just had to learn to focus on the things that matter most to me and my self-engagement and things that increase my self-awareness, my self-value, things that kept me on that level. And even if I had to start from the foundation, like Sibley said, that's something that I had to learn to do, even if it was years later, because like I said, those closest to me, I still held at a high regard to where it's like, all right, I respect what you say. Cool, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. All right, got you. But then over time, I realized like, no, that's not really what I want to do though. Let me do me this way, because I know this way is where I'm living in my true happiness and I'm content. Not content. I know I'm going to continue to grow on the levels that I need to grow on. I can always come back and do something in regards to your own respect and love that you have for me. But I need to have that for myself first. So I had to reattach myself to things that matter most to me to continue to help me grow. And misjudgment was not one of those. That's on them, not me. So that's my answer to that. Yeah.
And I love it. But thank y'all for tuning in this week. We appreciate y'all always for the love and support week in and week out. Just keep on, supporting us, and we promise you we focusing on getting better week in and week out to just bring y'all more authentic content, more structured content, and just completely get better.
Yep.
So we love y'all. We see y'all next week. Let's create.